Let me know when we're ready.
Okay, we're recording.
Excellent. Okay, good morning, everyone. It is September 10th. This is the Board of Education subcommittee meeting focusing on curriculum and instruction. We have we have a quorum. We have 3 members of our Board of Education leading us today: Lisa Luff, David Felton, and Chad Opner. And I just wanted to start by reminding everyone that the purpose of this meeting, this subcommittee meeting, is to collaborate between the Board of Education stakeholders, our school-based leaders, and the platform of this conversation is always focused on curriculum instruction, school culture, and climate that we have been working on in the Weston Public Schools and throughout the year. So I always love having these meetings, so I'm really excited to be back in school and reconvening this subcommittee meeting. We do meet virtually, and so that we do ask that we try to keep our cameras on if possible at all times, because we like to see your faces. If you're not speaking, we do ask that you mute your computers or your phones so that we don't get any background noise. And if you're not speaking, then if you could just mute yourself so that the person that is doesn't have any distraction from the background noise. We always want to be present and engaged. We spend a lot of time creating our agendas, so we really try to ensure that we stay on point, especially given the fact that this subcommittee is during the school day, and we really want to be mindful of everyone's time. So we try to be as focused and concise as possible, and we spend time creating these agenda items so that they're on point every meeting. And then finally, just good virtual protocol and norms, which is to always seek to understand, ask questions with good intentions, and try to keep that discussion on topic. So the first component of our meeting is always to approve the minutes from our last meeting, which was in June. I think I remind everyone on this call, if you were not here, June is always our academic year in review, and we spend a considerable amount of time going through every department and really highlighting all the great work that each department does. And so I'm going to ask that if there's any questions or adjustments, now would be the time to approve those minutes and make any adjustments. Otherwise, I need a motion for approval.
So Tina, my quick feedback would be I don't recall seeing the minutes. I may have missed it. I saw June's email for this meeting, but I didn't see the minutes attached. Did Lisa or Chad, did either of you?
No, I
see them.
All right, so then we will. June, go ahead. Did you want to say something?
I'm so sorry. I thought I had sent them back in June, but I will send them to you today and we can approve them at the next meeting.
Great. Sounds like a wonderful plan. All right, so our first agenda item today, I actually made a short presentation just so that we could look at something while we're talking. And so the first agenda item is just highlighting 2 new members of our curriculum and instruction leader department and our team. They're with us today. And then we're going to move on to updating you all on our summer curriculum. As you know, this is the 3rd year that we've run our Summer Curriculum Academy. We've got a lot of great work that our teachers engage in over the summer, and I want to give you an update around that work and what our focus area was this year. Next, and then finally, I want to also circle back to the Panorama Survey window. As you know, last year was the first year that we implemented our Panorama Survey for all stakeholders, families, students, and staff. And so we want to give you a brief update on where we are with that climate survey and what we're going to do with that data and how we're going to proceed forward. So I'm going to start with our new curriculum and instruction leaders because they are teaching, and we want to make sure that we highlight and celebrate and welcome them to our department and also let them get back to work. So Sarah Webb, welcome Sarah Webb. She is a teacher currently in Weston Public Schools. She's been with us. This is her 2nd year in Weston, but she has more than 8 years of educational experience. She came to us from New Haven and New York, and she has a lot of experience at all grade levels. She also coordinated professional development in her previous experience for more than 40 art teachers and mentored art teachers as well. I was actually very fortunate to interview her when she first came on board with us. She is a stellar teacher, and we're really excited to honor her and kind of elevate her to this new role. So it is K-12 art throughout the district. So she is teaching currently at Hurlbut. She has a very she's been doing an amazing job at Hurlbut. If you were able to come out for Art Jam and kind of see how that has been transformed at the elementary level since she joined us, it was quite impressive, and I can't wait to see how she supports our work moving forward. So just put a couple of components here on the slide. Sarah, do you want to say hello? And we want to welcome you. So congratulations.
Hi, it's nice to meet all of you that I don't already know. I have loved my first year in Weston, so I'm excited to be transferring into this new role, but also keeping some time in the classroom. And I'm really passionate about the school district. I feel like it's such a wonderful place to work and such an amazing community to be a part of. So I'm excited to be here and excited to work with you all this next year and into the future.
Oh, I'm unmuted. Oh, I was trying to be good with my norms. So congratulations, Sarah. We too are very excited. We're thrilled to have you in this new role. You have a passion and your expertise is second to none. And so we really are excited to see your vision and to see how you're transforming the art department. So welcome again, and thank you for stepping up and taking on this new leadership role.
Thank you. I'm super excited.
Great. Okay. Next, we have Mr. James Bruni. He joins us as the curriculum and instruction leader for WIS, supporting math and science in grades 3 through 5. He too comes with us with a lot of experience in education. He served in various roles, including interventionist, math coach, district consultant, curriculum specialist, and he too brings a wealth of instructional leadership to the role at WIS, which we know is something we were looking for when we were identifying the next person for this position, because as you all know, we are in the early stages of implementation of our new curriculum in grades 3, 4, and 5 in math specifically. Last year was the first year that we started with illustrative math in grade 5. This is our second year implementing illustrative math now in grades 3 and 4. And so we really wanted to make sure that we had someone who had a strong foundation in mathematics, but also mathematics coaching and building relationships with teachers and how to best support them when they're implementing new curricula. And we found that in James. I put a little quote on here because I just could not put the quote on here. When I went to look for his references and had conversations with his former supervisors, one comment just stood out to me and I just loved it, so I put it on the slide. He said, "We keep giving James more and more things to do because every time we give him a task, it just turns to gold." So to me, that was just kind of an overarching theme when I spoke to all of his references and anyone that he has worked with. So welcome, James. I think I saw him on the slide on the screen. Are you here, James?
Yes, I am. And
oh, great. There you are.
thank you. Thank you, Dr. Henkel, because I'm going to ask you to introduce me from now on at any event, because this is wonderful. So thank you. I'm honored to be here, honored to be part of Weston School community. So far has been amazing. Everybody's been so welcoming. So I'm excited to contribute and showcase my skill set that I feel is perfect for this position, and also advancing Weston Public Schools. So nice to officially meet everybody.
We're happy to have you, James. He joined the team really quickly and has been embraced by everyone that he has worked with so far in a very short period of time. We had open house last night. The parents were surrounding him and having conversations about math, and it was really great to see. So welcome to you both. We have our first department meeting next week, and so I'm really excited to continue this work with our curriculum instruction leaders and onboard our 2 new members. So you're welcome to stay on if you have time, but if not, we'll see you out in the field. All right. So the next agenda item is our Summer Curriculum Academy highlights. As you know, every summer we run a 5-day Summer Curriculum Academy. Since I joined the team 3 years ago, this is my 3rd year running the Summer Curriculum Academy. the focus of our Summer Curriculum Academy is to allow for our teachers to have time to really focus on designing curriculum, revising curriculum, and coming together as a network to ensure that our curriculum is coherent. It's aligned to ed reports and making sure that the resources we provide to our teachers are of the most highest quality, and they have been vetted and they've been reviewed. And so we take that time very seriously. And I just always bring this up in September because I just want to thank the Board of Education, because we have, it's a large allocation of funds, right? And every year we have more and more teachers and more work to update our curriculum across all content areas. Sometimes people only think of curriculum revision as math and English. And it goes much more, it's much more broad than just our core content areas, right? It's our specialist areas as well. It's art, it's music, it's physical education, it's health, it's world language. And it does take a lot of time in Weston because we have, it's a smaller district. And so we have less teachers to help support updating those content areas across all grade levels. So for example, in art, right, Laura, I'm looking at your face because you know exactly where I'm going with this. In art, for example, we only have 6 to 8 teachers in the art department across 13 grade levels. So when we think about looking at those teachers to help us build out the curriculum in that one content area, it takes us a little bit of time to make sure that every grade level is updated across the year. So we have to strategically think about what's our priorities, who wants to work in the summer, because remember, no one's required to work in the summer. This is all, even though we pay them, they have to volunteer to work. We spend a lot of time making sure that we're very intentional about the work that we do with our teachers. And phase 1, when I first started here, was just building a structure. It was understanding what the design of curriculum needed to look like, what was the framework that we were going to use when we're designing curriculum. And we use Universal Design for Learning, we use Backwards Design, and we wanted to make sure that the framework around documents and templates and pacing guides and scope and sequences, that structure was in place in year 1. So it probably was our largest lift when I first got here. It was an opportunity to make sure that when we think about a coherent, clearly articulated curriculum from kindergarten to high school, that we had those structures in place. When I got here, we moved away from a platform that we used to have where documents were housed. It was a very cumbersome platform and it wasn't very user-friendly. We moved into a Google platform. So now when we share documents and we review documents and we can access documents, it's a lot easier. And it also saves the district money because we don't need that previous platform. So we did that after year 1. Year 2, we moved into ensuring that we have a common understanding of how to prioritize content, because there's a lot of standards in every content area and every grade level. And so how do we make decisions around what's the most important standards to teach? And so that was phase 2. And then phase 3 was this summer, which was grounded around assessment design, ensuring that when we think about high quality assessments and common assessments and performance-based assessments and mastery-based learning, what do the assessments look like for us across the district? And then finally, one of the other aspects of our curriculum this summer was, now that we are 3 years in, we should be able to clearly identify where everybody is within the phases of curriculum implementation. And so all of our curriculum instruction leaders supported identifying which grade levels, which content areas were in which phase of curriculum. Were they analyzing or providing research? For example, last year, we started to investigate a new core resource for math. That would have been phase 1. So we have a district committee, we brought them together, we analyzed and planned and did research around which core resource do we want to replace in the district. Then once we do that, phase 2 is around articulating and developing. So that's when they come together and actually write curriculum before it's implemented. Phase 3 is implementing. And then phase 4 is once we've implemented, what data and evidence are we collecting to evaluate adjustments to that curriculum. So this third year of the Curriculum Academy, we finally got to a place where we can start identifying where we are within the phases of curriculum implementation, so we can start reflecting on that and prioritizing again. And then I just wanted to remind everyone, and given that this is a public committee meeting, last year we built out curriculum at a glance documents. The purpose of those documents is for parents to review and get an overview of what their children will be learning at a given content area and a given grade level. We now have 56 of those documents completed. They are posted on the website, and we are in progress of developing 47 more. So the goal is to have all of those in place. The long-term goal is to have a curriculum at a glance document in every content area, in every grade level for parents to access through our website. And again, the goal is to ensure that there's a strong partnership and understanding around what our curriculum looks like and what the students will experience and questions that they will be asked throughout their journey from kindergarten all the way to high school. So kudos to all of our teachers. We had 81 teachers this summer. Every year it continuously grows. I think our teachers find so much value in having those 5 days to really dive in and roll up their sleeves and collaborate and network with each other so that they're prepared and have a really strong kickoff to the start of the following school year in August. So I like to give you that data because you do support this work. Every year when I come back to budget and I ask for an allocation that is specific for Summer Curriculum Academy, it's important to know that this is a really robust Summer Curriculum Academy, and we have a large number of teachers that want to do this work and find the work to be valuable and very important for every coming school year. So any questions on that? I know it's a lot.
No, I just have a comment, Tina, which is just like double thumbs up on that. If we have faculty who want to dedicate their summer time to getting better and more consistent in delivering our curriculum, and we should fund them, we should support them, and do nothing but say thanks for that great work with it. And also, every bit of exposure I've ever had to the curriculum at Weston and Public School, it always seems as though the methodology is very sound, that the pedagogy is sound. And I think where there always has to be focus on making sure that that transfers to the classroom is making sure everyone is bringing their consistency up as much as possible. And I think the Summer Academy does a great job with that. So just thank you. That's the comment.
Yeah, I appreciate the comments, Chad. I think that part of it too is exactly what you said. It's one thing to write curriculum, it's another thing to implement, right? And Lisa's smiling because I know she's in this field and she gets it. And our principals, our curriculum and instruction leaders, that's why they are so now important, right? You think of that, these color codes here with the phases. Phase 1 and 2, that's behind the scenes, rolling up your sleeves, writing things on paper, ensuring that coherence and alignment is there. Phase 3 is that implementation, and that's why the roles of a curriculum and instruction leader and the roles of a principal leader, our assistant principals, our assistant directors, us all working together to ensure that what goes on paper actually it comes to fruition in the classroom, and there's that consistent implementation. And then that phase 4, which is gathering that evidence and understanding, are there areas that we're not doing a great job of implementing with coherence and sound structure, and how do we help support teachers and students and or curriculum revision over the summer to kind of close that gap if the gap exists. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Tina, you've worked really hard at changing and implementing curriculum, and I really love it. I especially like the curriculum at a glance, enabling parents to partner with teachers when students are learning the material. What do we do to inform parents that curriculum at a glance is there? Do we send it home? Do we let them know the links and provide where they are in the scope and sequence as teachers go through it?
Yeah, thank you for asking those two questions, because we're always looking to communicate also more consistently with parents. So there's a couple things that we've been trying to implement in the schools, and Laura's here and she can attest to this too. A couple of things, right? Sometimes we use the curriculum at a glance documents prior to a unit or a school year to give an overview to parents. We also use it if we have parent conferences or parent meetings. We also mention it at trainings, parent night trainings, right? We do bring in parents for parent nights, and we do literacy nights and math nights and STEM nights, and we've done a variety of different things over the years, always looking to get parents more engaged and understand what it feels like to be in the classrooms at the given grade levels or at within a given content area. So we also want to balance and make sure that we don't overload parents with a lot of content too. So because we do have family letters that we do send out prior to a unit of study in different content areas. So we probably need to review on how to use the curriculum at a glance documents. They exist, they're there if anybody wants to access them. We haven't really been sharing them explicitly every single year out. We've just been communicating that they exist. And if you're looking for some more detail around an overview at a given grade level or content area, that's where they can go to access them. I don't know, Laura, if you wanted to add anything else that maybe I'm missing. No.
No, I think you covered it. We send out a tremendous amount of communication, and we do highlight the curricular areas throughout the year.
One idea that might be, since you were just bringing it up, Lisa, our principals provide week aheads every week, and I wonder maybe if we just put I can write a little blurb with the link to the website, just reminding them that they exist, and if they're looking for an overview of a given content area at a given grade, this is where they can go to access those curriculum at a glance documents. That's a great idea.
I think it would make the documents live, and if they make that contact, if parents make the contact once, it'll be much easier to look at as their students go through the grade, so they can support them
Yeah.
to know next steps and if they're struggling.
Yeah, now that we have 56 of them developed, there's every content area now has one. Last year we were slowly developing them. Now that we have so many more, I think it's I'm confident that if they're looking for something in any content area, they will be able to see a document in every content area. So that's maybe the timing is good.
Thanks for the great work, Tina.
No problem. It's the teachers, right? The teachers are the ones to thank as well. Okay, so, oh, look at that. I forgot I had a little highlighter there. Okay, the last agenda item that I wanted to circle back on was last year, as many of you know, we started a new survey to support our climate goals, our culture and climate goals across the district. We transitioned to a statistically valid survey through a platform called Panorama. Panorama houses survey data for students, survey data for staff, and also survey data for parents. We presented our fall and spring survey data results last school year at one of our Board of Education meetings. And we had some areas that we wanted to focus on in all three of those subgroups: the students, the parents, and the staff. And so whenever you do climate survey, you need time in between the next time that you gather that data again, because you take the data, you analyze the data, you reflect on the data, you work with your school leaders, your staff, and you start designing action steps that would maybe change the results the next time that you complete the survey again. And so the principals and I met over the summer during our August retreat. We really talked about what are some of the things in our school and our district improvement plans that we really want to return a different result in when it comes to the climate survey data within the schools and also across the district. And so we need a little bit of time to work on some of our own internal action steps and the opportunities that we want to give to staff, to students, to families, so that they increase their sense of belonging, well-being, their connectedness across the district. And so this coming school year, we're not going to implement a fall survey that we did in the past. We're going to only implement the spring survey. That way we can compare our spring to spring results over the course of a year. So this is the details really quick of the way that we're going to be implementing or gathering our spring survey data on Panorama. We're going to implement it in March, and it will be a window of time that's basically the whole month of March. And we felt that March is a good time to gather that data for a variety of reasons. One is March is one of the longer months in the school year, so we have enough time where all stakeholders can complete the survey. We also know that when you get into April and May, you've got April vacation. We have a lot of testing that starts for students, and we wanted to make sure that the climate in the school when we gather that data is at a different scheduling and logistical level than some of the other priorities that exist in the school year in April and May. So as a team, we decided that we are going to gather that spring data in the month of March. Obviously, we will communicate that as it gets closer. But I wanted to provide you with an update that we are not going to be administering a fall survey this school year. We wanted some time to actually change our practice and reflect on that data so that we really focus on the action steps versus just sending a survey out just to send a survey out.
Well, Tina, last year I can understand that you implemented it early because then you were able to look at the data and provide goals, but now it's comparing one year to the next. So it's March to March. And so I think that's a really good use of time because it's just duplicity to do it in the spring and the fall.
Yeah, and we had a conversation, and Jason and Laura chime in. We had a conversation because, as you know, Lisa, Chad, and David, when we showed you the spring results, the number of responses significantly went down, right?
Right.
And so we want to make sure that we don't over-survey, that we are really increasing the validity of the survey based on the responses that we get so that our action steps can really reflect on some of the work that we want to do in the schools. So that's really the goal, is we've got fall data, we've got spring data, we have a really good baseline. So we can always add another fall survey down the road, and we can look at fall to fall again over the course of a year or 2 years. And that's okay with climate data.
The other thing, Tina, is when we looked at the spring data, that's the information we're using now to drive some of our goals and some work and conversations this year. So if in the fall, then we're doing another survey, it just, confuses the process and it's not as relevant information. We also found that across the schools, each school has at least one entry-level grade. Families who are new to that school, and we're asking them, in the past, sometimes a week into the school year, about their experiences. And the feedback we were getting was, well, we really haven't had these experiences yet. So it's more helpful and more relevant, I think, to have some spring data year after year. It will be very informative for us.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Laura. The timing of it, absolutely.
Tina,
Lisa,
real
you're
quick.
muted. Sorry. Oh, David, go ahead.
I'm sorry, was somebody else?
No,
going to say?
before we move on, I just wanted to let you know Chad is having trouble with T-Mobile and he's logged off, but he's trying to log in again.
Okay, thank you. David, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so I think if I recall correctly, at the end of spring, when we were talking about the Panorama survey, there was an indication that we were going to release the questions and the responses in an aggregate or not person identifiable. Where are we at with that?
So when we present the district improvement plan for this coming school year, we're going to talk about which topics we're going to zoom in on, and we'll be able to provide you with more specific aggregate data in those topics. And then we can also, like Laura mentioned, we'll use that spring information to then say, because of the spring data, this is where we're focusing, so we can actually look at spring to spring and compare those results when we gather the survey data again in March.
Okay,
Yeah.
so so the intent is to be able to take the responses from the Panorama survey, put together an action plan, and then at some point, potentially the following spring, be able to go back and say, here are the responses, here was the action plan, here was the outcome.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, year one always is a baseline
Right.
year. I will say that, to Laura's point, in the fall, while we valued the data that we got, it was the first time a lot of the data that we received was almost like frustration. Right? There was a level of frustration with the format of the survey, making sure people, it was the first time people took it. There were some grade levels where like there wasn't enough time to even give good feedback we got from some of the open responses. Like, I need more time to give you true and valid information, and doing it now is not a good time. So we're listening, right? We're listening to people's responses. We're trying to be mindful of the fact that if we really want to reflect on what we do in the schools and in the district and create opportunities that will change the way people feel and how they're connected to schools, we need some time to do that before we ask them survey data again.
Yeah. Okay. And the reason, a little more information, I think what we talked about last spring was there was a low response rate. And we don't know why, other than maybe survey fatigue. But in talking to a couple of the parents, I think there is some general feeling of survey fatigue. And what I mean by that is the kind of feedback I got was, well, we're taking these surveys, but we don't know how the data is being used. We're not presented with the results, and we don't have an action plan, right? And that kind of resonates with why I asked the question, because I think when people feel like we're asking the community to invest in a survey. And so they want to know, well, if I'm going to invest time in a survey, maybe take it from the baseball field, right? And well, they want to know where we use the data. So I think that's why it's really important that at the end of this particular survey, so to speak, we have the action plan, and then we go back and look at where we made tweaks or what changes took place. And then we can encourage people, take the survey, because the survey is truly considered, and future plans are developed around the response to the survey. And I think you're 100% right. People who have survey fatigue, those that do take the survey, generally have something they want resolved, right? So you sometimes get the folks that have something they want resolved, and the people who are of the mindset everything's great, they don't know the importance of taking the survey. But it's important that we get the cross section of everyone to take the survey, because it helps to really understand singular issues and larger issues within the district.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving that feedback because we can always do better at communicating, as we talked about in the beginning. I think it's important that as the board members, right, that we use it within our district improvement plan very explicitly. We report out every time we get that data back. Last year, just so that the public that's watching and listening know, our school principals actually did individual meetings with families on their school data and shared that school specific data, at PTO meetings when they presented to them about their individual goals. They also presented to faculty. We're going to do that again. I think it's important to do that again, because where do these goals live? They live in the school improvement plans. In Weston, those are our drivers right now. Our drivers are our school and district improvement plans. We try to be as explicit and transparent as possible. The climate data is from the climate data goals in those school and district plans are from the survey. And we actually have cut and pasted the questions and put them in our goals. on those documents, but I know it's a lot. So to reflect on what you said, David, reiterating some of that in our PTO meetings or at a back to school night, or making sure that maybe there's a dipstick throughout the year that we're constantly coming back to those data points, so that as you said, people see that we're using this information. This is what we heard from the survey. So this is why we're doing this event, for example, at the school level, so that people can see how that data is living and breathing in the work that we do. Okay, thank you for that feedback. I'll reiterate that to our principals when we talk a little bit about, making sure that some of our action steps could be reiterating the survey data specifically at the school level during PTO meetings or at faculty meetings, or maybe they use it in a different way within their events that they have, so that people see how some of the things that we do or the designs that we build are from this data. These are where the ideas come from. And also, I think it's important that you all know, last year we approved a new policy around school climate. There's a new district policy around school climate. And every school is required to have a school climate committee. And part of that committee's work is to look at this data, is to come up with different events or opportunities or action steps that when we give this survey out again, will change the results and things will improve. So I'm taking notes while you're talking. Thank you for that. Any other questions on the Panorama survey or anything else, Laura, that you might want to add while we close on this topic?
No, I think you covered all of it.
Okay, great. Okay, so before this is a short agenda, always a little shorter than normal. Just wanted to mention a couple things. One is not on this slide. That's really exciting news, since this is a recorded meeting, and the public, some people will watch it later. At 9 o'clock this morning, a public press release went out that the Weston Intermediate School received the Connecticut Blue Ribbon Award, and we're really excited to honor them and the hard work that they put in to apply for a Blue Ribbon Status Award, and they received it. We actually knew about it, to be fully transparent. We knew about it at the end of the school year, but we were not allowed to publicly announce it until it was released by the state. Unfortunately, you may have also heard that this used to be a national Blue Ribbon program funded by the federal government. Why this was so late to be published was because the federal government has dissolved the program. But Connecticut is still honoring the 4 schools in the state of Connecticut that received this prestigious honor, and so are we. So the Connecticut Department of Education created their own Connecticut Blue Ribbon Award and recognition, and so the 4 schools that received this honor at the national level, we are still honoring them moving into this school year. So we did, there's a press release. I did publicly announce it to the community with the full article at the state level, and so we were really excited that we were able to receive this award. It's a lot of hard work for the intermediate school and the staff to put together, and I'm just happy that the state didn't just brush it under the rug, like potentially some of the other schools across the country had to do. So I'm really excited for that and that award for them. And then, so moving forward, I just wanted to put 3 future topics that are going to come out that we're going to be presenting in our subcommittee meetings. And that is the Next Generation Accountability Report will come out in September at some point. This is the state report card for districts, where it includes 13 or 12 or 13 different indicators. It's more of a holistic review and report card of the state of the schools, and it's not just test scores. It's also about chronic absenteeism. It's about arts access. It's about graduation rates. It's about physical education achievement as well. So we will spend some time looking at that next generation accountability report for Weston when it gets released. It's not publicly released yet with all the indicators. I also want to give you an update around our AI advisory committee, which we established last year. And I'll have members from the advisory committee join us and talk about the work that they've been doing last year and where they're headed this year. And also some of the new guidelines that the committee established for teachers and for students on the appropriate and ethical use of AI in the educational setting. And then last, which this has been something on my docket for the last, I would say 2-3 years, and I wasn't sure if we were ready to talk about it. And now that Erica Forty is joining us, I really believe that it's time to talk about it. The state of there is national standards around future ready schools and what that means for us as a district, and whether or not our schools are ready, are supporting and developing students to be future ready. There's a future ready framework and there are standards regarding future readiness. And so we really haven't talked about it at all. And I would love to start the conversation. And I think possibly this is the conversation in the group to start it with. I don't know exactly which month we're going to talk about it, but I am putting it down on paper now because that gives me an opportunity to start the conversation. All right, so that kind of concludes the agenda for today. I always ask for additional topics or ideas before we move on, and if there's anything else that I might be missing.
I have one quick question, Tina. And I know I asked about this last year, and I don't remember where we actually left off, and it was asked of me again recently. And it has to do with high school and writing. And one of the
Okay.
questions I had asked, and you said there is a program, but I don't think we ever really kind of closed the loop on what it was. And I kind of generalized the question as, do we prepare our students to do things like write letters to editors? Granted, that's kind of old school with newspapers, but write letters to, for example, a corporation. And of course, I think write letter, I don't mean by hand. I would have typed it and mailed it. Today, I guess you would email it. So the question really is from a business perspective. And I think what you said is that it might be, or it is part of a curriculum course. If we can, at some point, one of the future meetings, just kind of highlight what at the high school level, what we're doing from a writing perspective for like business writing, for workplace writing type of things, like letters to the editor, letters to a company for customer service, letter to take a position and sort of, not in a political way, but take a position and kind of argue for it. Because over the summer when I was talking to some parents, the same question kind of came up. Do our students actually graduate Weston High School and have the ability to write a letter asking for something, or right, or taking a position and develop, so I said, yes, we discussed this, but we didn't discuss it to the point where I can tell you when or where it happens.
Yeah, I remember we did a pretty extensive writing presentation. It was a K-12 writing presentation last year, and I think we brought up personal finance as one of those curricula that, I know it's a mandate, but it's a good mandate. It's one of those good mandates, I think. But in personal finance, there is a unit of study that talks about business writing, as you said, and different tasks and performance-based assessments that students are expected to write in that type of format. But I will gladly bring it back up, and we can always rinse and repeat and talk a little bit more in detail, specifically in the content areas that come to mind, which are personal finance, English, obviously, and then also with our library media specialists and some of the different units of study that they work together to support some of that work. So we can highlight that for sure.
That'd be
Maybe we
great,
can,
because
sorry, I was just going to say maybe we can use curriculum at a glance, right? And look at, 2 or 3 and how they're integrated. And that would give us, a public opportunity to see the tools that we can, send to parents to establish the curriculum and make parents knowledgeable about what their students are learning.
I
So
love that idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Okay.
And the feedback I've gotten from parents, by the way, about the finance, sorry, what's
Personal finance,
personal finance, it's been very positive. They will
Yeah.
actually have said to me, I'm so glad it's now required.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be nice because there is there's positive feedback about it being required. I think it does warrant us just kind of maybe taking a little bit more than just, scratch the surface and let people know. And I think Lisa might be correct. If there was a curriculum at a glance, even an abbreviated version, just for the purposes of that course. But the feedback I've gotten from parents in high school is this was a much needed course.
Perfect.
So,
All right.
yeah,
We've
so
added
there's
another
interest.
topic.
Yeah.
Love it. Added another topic. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Sorry to add more topics, but
No. No, we got the
Well,
year is just starting.
right.
We have plenty of
Better to
time.
add it in September than in April.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. Perfect. All right, Chairman Felton, I am passing it back to you.
All right. Well, then I think unless there's nothing else, I can get a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Second. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you,
Thanks so
most of
much.
you or some of you on Monday, the regular board
Sounds
web
good.
meeting.
We'll be there.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a great
Bye-bye.
day.
Have a good one. Good weekend.
Bye.